Hello, Daddy Gamer and Reformed Kilts, and some more lessons in good trouble. Glad that you are with me today. First thing I want to for all those who joined me on my first episode. Good Lord, far more people watched that episode than probably have watched any of my other episodes. So thank you so much for that. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. And we're going to keep on going. Let's go check out this beautiful... Hello, friend. This beautiful school that we created here in for Malala. And this is, a school that we rebuilt. It was bombed, and now it is rebuilt. Very cool. Hello. All right, let's go talk to John Lewis and see where we're going next. Thank you, Malala, for all your work. Next, I'd like to take you to a different point in history to meet another important leader who was a catalyst for good trouble. Continue on down the road or fast travel to the next location. We're going to proceed on foot. So, let's go on down here. These are cool trees. I like the purple. Ooh, and we're transitioning into... Oh, Nelson Mandela. Nice. Let's talk to John first. Now let's meet Nelson Mandela, who was an advocate for human rights and freedom for black people in South Africa during the apartheid government. This was the brutal policy of racial discrimination against people of color that caused suffering for millions across generations. Hello, Nelson. Thank you, Congressman. As a leader of the African National Congress, I was a catalyst for good trouble protesting against the South African government's unfair policies. I was arrested and sentenced to 30 years in prison, but I didn't give up the struggle. We ended apartheid in 1992, and I became the first black president of South Africa. Very cool. Yeah, Nelson Mandela is very important, and apartheid, whew, that was quite something. All right,
friend.
Hello! How are you, Farm Girl Laura? Glad to have you with us. Oh, look at this. Oh, beautiful. Look. We've got all the white or the Afrikaans people on one side, and we have the people of color on the other side. They are separated completely. Oh, look, and there's like... This is much more sort of buildings and that sort of stuff. This is more kind of huts and run down.
I am doing good.
Good.
How are you?
Doing pretty well. All right. Let's see. Steve Biko, 1946 to 1977. All right. All right, Nelson. You may have noticed our statue of Steve Biko, leader of the Black Consciousness Movement and one of many other anti-apartheid activists who caused good trouble. Take a moment to learn about other anti-apartheid activists and build a monument to their good trouble to stand beside Steve Biko. Okay? So I take it there will be... Nope. All right. Those are just building materials. I wonder where we're supposed to learn about these things. I wonder if it's in here. Oh, I bet it is. Let's see. Pakistan. All right. Nope. Anti-apartheid leader reflecting on exclusion while learning about the segregation in the U.S. civil rights movement. Building a symbol to teach of Gandhi. No. All right. So I wonder if this is supposed to be something that we're checking out. Oh. Restroom blacks colored Asians. Oh, man. All right. So we're supposed to learn about another anti-apartheid leader. White area. Okay. But I'm not sure how we're supposed to do that other than doing some research. But I'm not going to do that in the middle of a video. So what we're going to do is, I do know about the Belhar Confession. The Belhar Confession is it was written during apartheid as a very much statement against apartheid. We're going to get some of that. Yeah, so it was written during the time of apartheid, and it was really because the statement of the church in general was that, we're not going to say a whole lot about apartheid because it's just part of how the world works and how this all kind of... internet connection quality is not sufficient to broadcast gameplay. Okay. So maybe I'm going to do some research. I don't know if you can still hear me, but it sounds like maybe the internet's not working so well for this video. So I'm going to go ahead and stop and check that out. And let's see. Actually, if you're still there,
we hear you.
You do hear me. Can you see what I'm doing? Let's see if you can see what I'm doing, too.
And I see you.
Okay, well, then it's just where... Oh, look! And it gave me a pickaxe this time. Sweet. Anyways. So I was telling you about the Belhar Confession. Let's do this. Belhar Confession. Written during apartheid. Specifically, well, why did you do that? Okay, let's just grab a short stack. Oh, I can't do anything about that. Well, we'll break out this. So it was written during apartheid as a stand against apartheid because, just like many other things, the sort of... Oh, how am I going to get up there? Because we're talking systemic racism, it was just assumed that this is kind of just the way things are and there's not really much we can do about it. But the folks in the Dutch Reformed Church saw this and said, no, wait a second. This is not the way that things should be. It's just the way that they are. That apartheid is not actually the way that it should be. And in fact, not only is it not what should be, but it is against what the gospel actually teaches. And so they wrote the theological declaration. No. The Barman Declaration. Is that Theological Declaration of Barman? No. That was written during Nazi Germany. What I'm talking about is the Belhar Confession. There we go. Belhar. Same thing. Not same thing, but Belhar, Confession of Belhar was to say that apartheid is not only not a part of the gospel, but it is antithetical to it, and called for the end of apartheid, that any gospel that proclaims that people are different based on the color of their skin is not actually the gospel and should be directly opposed. That's right, John Lewis. So that's what my sculpture is going to be here of, partially because I believe that is very much true, and also because it's not something I have to research. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do... let me see what I can do here. Can I make it so it looks... I bet if I do that, that'll look kind of like a too open. Oh! Yeah, that kind of looks like... Kind of looks like a Bible. Oh man, I can't build here. Well, you know, maybe I should just go into creative and then I can build a lot better. Let's do that real quick. Unlock. Unlock. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Put myself into survival. I meant creative. Okay, that I made my... So default needs to be adventure. My personal game mode needs to be creative. There we go. All right. That's not looking like a book. Okay. Let's do... yeah, because that's one of the things that we really have to come to terms with, is that sometimes we, as the people in power, in this case it was the church, can be very comfortable with systemic issues because, well, we're comfortable. And, you know, things are working out for us. So that's a little bit more bookish. The center. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's do that. And you know what? That's problematic. If we just kind of assume that we're right because we're right because we're right, that really gets us into some big problems. And it's something that... Let's do like a little... let's do a flat banner. Yeah, when we're the ones who sort of benefit from these systems, we're sometimes the ones who are a little bit more willing to perpetuate them. And that's not a good thing. Spoilers. Does that kind of sell that it's kind of a bookmark-ish? Let's do up one. No, I think there is better. That works. And then we're going to out of this is gonna be a cross, which stands above this and is the bridge between white and let's do this. Let's do actual skin tones instead of more abstract white and black. So we'll put Afrikaans on this side, knowing full well that geographically Afrikaans are on that side. Yeah, that works. Is that? Yeah, that works. That works. Okay, I like it. All right. So there is the sculpture about the Belhar Confession, written in apartheid South Africa by the Dutch Reformed Church. There we go. I'm liking that. Great. Thank you very much. Cool. Let's move on. Hey, John Lewis. Next, I'd like to take you to the United States in the 1960s and share with you some of the important events that shaped my life. You can continue on foot, fast travel, or return to the lobby using your button below. We are going to return to the lobby. Are we still there? Are we still broadcasting? Oh, we are. Okay. All right. I got a little bit confused there. All right. So, yeah. There we go. Good. Belhar Confession. Next to Steve Biko. Oh, actually, we should do a sign. Belhar Confession. And I think I want to say it was written in 1963. If I find that that is not the case, I will go back and change it. All right. If you have a chance, look up the Belhar Confession. It is excellent. It is excellent. All right. What do we got now? Going to 1960s America. You might know who we're going to meet. It's John Lewis. And also Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All right. My friend and mentor, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. embodied the ideals of causing good trouble by speaking out and leading nonviolent protests when he saw something unjust. He gave his life in pursuit of civil rights and in ending racial discrimination. Hello, dear friend. Like you, John, I grew up in the segregated South, Atlanta, Georgia, and I knew it was my mission to make a difference. I believed in peaceful, non-violent protests as a way to impact change and end racial discrimination. In 1963, I led the March on Washington, where I delivered the I Have a Dream speech. Excellent. I like that, he looks really good. That's a particularly good one. Mandela was okay, but Martin Luther King Jr. definitely looks great. This is right next to a bus. In 1960, African American students in Greensboro, North Carolina, staged a sit-in at a segregated lunch counter, refusing to leave after being denied service. Learn more about the good trouble they caused, and then think about a time you or a friend were excluded because of your identity. How did you feel? Write it down with the book and quill. Ooh. So we've got a book and quill. So I presume... no. Alright, so it's blank. So we're doing a sit-in. Alright, so the idea was that you could only sit up at the counter if you were white. And so the African Americans sat at the table, and even though they refused service, they did not go anywhere else. When's the time that I was excluded? Ooh, cake. And this is my privilege. I'm not thinking immediately of a time that I was excluded. I can definitely think of times when I excluded. I'm the oldest of 7, so I've definitely excluded some of my younger siblings from activities. But actually, no. Growing up in high school, I was definitely and this is going to be really surprising, I know, for any of you who know me, but I was a bit of a nerd and a geek. And so not everybody knew exactly how to deal with me. And so there were times kind of in my youth group and stuff like that where I was excluded for just being a little bit weird, being... people they didn't include me on things. They thought I was kind of a goody two-shoes, and even some of my siblings they've excluded me on some of those things because of their perception of me. So that's been a time that I've been excluded. Just because kind of assumptions that people make about me and the things that I might like and the things I might want to be included in. Now that's not nearly the kind of exclusion that these young people were dealing with, but it is exclusion, and so that's something. Journaling about it is a very helpful activity, just a thing to do. Writing out and especially physically writing out is very important, and is very helpful for a healing process and to really. Oh, wait a second. I've got cat and I've got C418. So we're gonna play some music. Yeah, journaling is very important. So, as I would encourage you, as you're thinking through some of these things, to be pondering them with me. You know, what are some times that you were excluded? When were some times that you have seen that sort of exclusion? Have you participated in that sort of exclusion? It's hard to own up to the fact that maybe we have excluded other people. And I believe I need to get on this bus with Rosa Parks. That's awesome. Hey. Another major inspiration of mine was Rosa Parks. Rosa was instrumental in many things, including the Montgomery bus boycott, which was a significant moment in the civil rights movement. One example of her good trouble was refusing to give up her seat.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I was worried that I had lost you. Which was a significant movement in the civil rights movement. One example of her good trouble was refusing to give up her seat in the bus to a white man on December 1st, 1955. Hey there, Rosa. That's right, John. I planned my good trouble. And I even thought I lost my job because of it. My case went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, which ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. I continue to lead the fight against racial segregation with Dr. King and other leaders like you. I will say, so again, another sort of act of nonviolent civil disobedience, where she was supposed to get back here to the back of the bus where the blacks were supposed to be, and she said, "No, I'm not going to do that." There is an excellent what is it called? Doctor Who episode about Rosa Parks. I commend that to you. That was from, I think, the last season. So definitely something to check out. All right, let's see what else we got. Drinking fountain. It's whites only. Ooh, we got lots of people here. All right, so we've got civil rights activists. We've got what? End police brutality. Civil rights activists right here in the middle. We've got We Walk for Humanity. Segregation is morally wrong. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Do I need to push this button? Nope. We shall overcome someday. Oh, here's the colored drinking fountain, which is gross. All right, let's talk to this civil rights activist. Oh, we're gonna march across Selma. In 1965, John Lewis helped to lead a march across this bridge to the state capitol in Montgomery, Alabama. Keep going to join the demonstration to learn more. Okay. So we're going to go on across the bridge. I think this is the Selma Bridge. Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah, I think so. Oh, it's the Edmund Pettus Bridge. That was super cool that showed up just like that. I don't know how they did that. All right. Going across the bridge. I like that there was not a quick. This is we have to walk across. God. March on the Capitol. Look at all the people. Oh, it's a young John Lewis. Nice. On March 7th, 1965, in Selma, Alabama, I helped lead a peaceful march against the state's efforts to deny blacks the right to vote. Hundreds of peaceful protesters were met that day by state troopers who beat us with clubs, attacked us with dogs, and arrested us. This was a defining moment in the civil rights movement and in my own life. Yep. Selma, Alabama. Man. And to march peacefully, right? Because that was absolutely part of it, and a necessary part, is that this be completely peaceful, and to march into a big crowd of police. Past picket lines. The good trouble we caused that day would inspire millions to join the civil rights movement. Now I want to head further back in time to India to meet a man known for leading nonviolent resistance in his pursuit of good trouble. Click the button below to proceed on foot, fast travel, or return to the lobby. I'm going to proceed on foot, and actually I am not going to go to India right now. Let's stay here in Selma. We're going to check out Selma a little bit more, and then we're going to finish this episode. Look at the river. Yeah, so this is interesting. This is not that long ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. There are people alive today who marched. There are people alive today that were part of all of this, right? And we're part of the Black Lives Movement and kind of the ongoing civil rights issues is participating in continuing on this important work. Nonviolence is a vital important part of this type of movement, because while it seems like a lot easier to be violent, when faced with potential violence and force, to react in kind. The message that is given in nonviolence is a much stronger message, going along with the gospel that I was talking about before, and the New Testament and the writings of Jesus, and all of that. Nonviolence is hugely important for that. In fact, if you look at what is it called? The covenant that every one of there was the 10 commandments of the nonviolent movement. You had to commit to several things. One was nonviolence, complete nonviolence. There's a story of, I don't remember her name, but she's a niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and she was a little girl during these marches, and she was marching with a friend of hers, and a policeman, I think, bumped into them or something like that, or was questioning the friend or something. Anyways, this girl, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., she was like pounding on the policeman, and he arrested her. She went to prison. She went to jail, rather, and she calls her dad from jail and says, I'm here. And he said, well, why? And she tells him the story, and he says, okay, then I will come and pick you up tomorrow when you are released, and you can think about what does nonviolence truly mean. Because if you're not willing to be nonviolent, then you're actually working against what we're trying to do here. It's a powerful message. But another thing that each of the the participants in these marches had to commit to covenant to, was to every day read about the writings and teachings of the radical Jesus of Nazareth. That his active seeking for justice for all, for nonviolence, for love and grace, and yet firm understanding that things need to change, and speaking truth to power. All of these are vital parts of the gospel, whether we, like I said, with the Barman Declaration, like sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we get comfortable with power. And part of my work as a minister is to call all of us to account that this is our work. This is something that we need to be participating in, to stand up for justice. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of nuance. There are, like each of these people, each of the police officers are here to really, because they feel that they are protecting, that they are serving, that they are, if they're doing, at core, they should be seeking those peaceful things, and to actually uphold peaceful assemblies, and even where's the word I'm thinking of, peaceful protests, to make sure that the violence doesn't happen. But we're all humans too, and we sometimes we make mistakes on both sides. And how do we give that grace to one another? How do we listen to one another, and listen to the concerns of one another? Because, it's really hard, the space in between, right? The space in between these two groups. They can look at each other as enemies, and look at one another and think, we are opposed to one another, when actually at core, at heart, they are looking for the same things. And so how do we come together, and how do we seek justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God? These are important things to ask ourselves, and a vital part of this good trouble question, and this ongoing work of justice. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Thanks for joining me today, and we will, we'll keep doing some good trouble. I'm going to try to do this on a sort of a Sunday night type thing. So join me next time for more good trouble. And thanks so much for hanging out with me this evening in Selma, and in South Africa, apartheid, and meeting Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. Thank you so much for hanging out. Go get in some good trouble. Think about these things. Journal. Ask some questions. Talk to people. Maybe talk to someone who was around during the time of the civil rights movement, and get some different perspectives. Because they're as much as I look at someone like Martin Luther King Jr. and really honor the things that he did, there are a lot of people who, when he died, he was not a well-loved person. He did a lot of very controversial things. There was a lot of bad press, whether it was true things or whether it was just, not so true things, and just hype and rumors and all that. There were some folks on the civil rights movement who didn't like the idea of nonviolence. They wanted to be violent. They wanted to break some heads and get people to listen through violent means. And yeah, I mean, there's lots of sides to this. So anyways, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you later. And yeah, like this video, subscribe, click on the subscription button, and yeah, give me your comments, give me your questions. I'd love to chat about this. I will do some research and make sure that I had that year on the Barman Declaration correct. But yeah, thanks. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.